Shalom Aleichem, everybody. First of all, thank you, Rav Heshi, for so eloquently putting down crisis in fast forward. Those of you that are newcomers don't know what I'm talking about, but this takes many, many hours to explain what Heshi did. And when we were dividing who's going to say what from this crisis, I knew to choose Heshi to say the first half, which is the most complicated part. And if none is perfect, I think that anybody that's walked in here for the first time was able to chop mainlining more or less what the goal of this whole of crisis is. First of all, I want to say that thank you Hashem, I died the Irish to the Muslim that I'm here for third year, I think. Baruch Hashem. And I know a lot of you. And today I was hanging out with a few Bucharim, 10 boys, in a restaurant. They took me out for lunch. And I was schmoozing with these boys. And I was thinking that just 2 years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, I was talking to their parents when they would share with me their names. And I remember things, Baruch Hashem. And I remember where the crisis was at that time, where it's up to now. These boys were shining away, Baruch Hashem. And they should continue with their journey and the upwards, that they should be standing here one day and teach us what we went wrong and how we could do it better in the future. Yeah. So I want to say a brief, quickly, introduction of about the crisis Chinuch that Heshi said. This is something that's evolving. It's not Torah Shebechsav. There are many different mahalchim on how to deal with children that are struggling. In the beginning, 20 years ago, me and my wife, Baruch Hashem, opened up our door in our house. And at the time we had a shul, a nice, successful shul. And we had literally hundreds of Bucharim in and out throughout the first few years. They were hanging out by us. I was guiding the parents how to deal with them. And Baruch Hashem, that was unbelievable. A lot of them are big families now already. Chazda Hashem. So when Kesher Nafshi started like 6-7 years ago, I was reached out, as Gedalia said it wrong before, that when I came to Kesher Nafshi the first Shabbos, they hired me to come speak there because I was already, I think at the time, probably over 10 years dealing with these Heilige Bucharim. And at that time, Avi Fishof was still in the whole Kesher Nafshi started because Avi Fishof, let's give him the credit, Rav Gedalia and many others that opened Kesher Nafshi were Talmidim from Avi Fishof, and they decided that they're going to just make a Shabbos for all the Yidden that are struggling, not only the ones that want to come to the Shabbos and that want to do the Mahalachim Avi Fishof, they want other Yidden to come. And throughout the years after Kesher Nafshi was opened, the only one that persisted and continued carrying the whole O of Kesher Nafshi, the other ones dropped out, the ones that started helping. The Gedalia HaTzadik, he calls himself a Meshigana for running Kesher Nafshi and taking upon himself such amazing work. But really, as a tzaddik, he's able to continue. I think they're up to Shabbos Kesher Nafshi 13 or 14. I've been had the Schia speaking probably at 11 or 12 of them. This is something that Rav Gedalia continues to share. So what's the tachlis of this Shabbos that we're going to have here? There's two points to the Shabbos. Shabbos number one is chizik. You see, you have chizik, you're in the room together with other Yidden that are struggling. You find friends, you find other people that are in a similar situation. You share ideas. That's one part of the Shabbos, just coming and seeing so many other Yidden that are in the same matzav as you. Everybody coming out of the closet and facing this challenge in public, in a public setting. That's chizik. And number two, you come for hadrucha. Hadrucha, the know-how and education and knowing how to deal with this. There are many different mahalchim. It's not one size fits all. Avi Fishof has his mahalach. If Shimon Russell has his mahalach. There's many different mahalchim. And Rebitz, I want to call her Rebitz Shani Lisser. She has her mahalach. The common denominator is quite close. Quite close. I would say 80% of all these mahalchim and many more are very, very similar. It's all in the same kivun. Where the red line is, where do you stop, how far do you go with crisis in your house? You'll have different opinions. So you come for a Shabbos, nobody dictates which mahalach you should use. You come in for Shabbos to get your chizik and pick up and you listen to speeches. You come to Shabbos Keshanafshi, they have Rav Shimon Russell, gives his mahalach, and then you have so many other speakers over there, and they talk a little bit, they veer off a little bit this way, that way. It's not a steer, it's not a contradiction, but you take home what works for you. Make home what works for you. So, after all these years being in this line myself, I've been trained so time, and I've in it, me and my wife were doing so much in this field. So the last few years we decided, for us, for me, for my cycle, for my understanding, the most that told me, that gave me the real tools how to deal with it was Rav Shimon. So that's why me and Rav Heshi Weinberger, so Moshe Talber, I'm sure a lot of you know him. Shalom Yosef Levinger is a guy from Kiryas Yoel, a tzaddik that does so much for chesed. And then there's a lady in Flatbush, Vivi Friedler. So all five of us were trained by Rav Shimon directly because I wanted to use his mahalach. I figured, to me, that makes the most sense in more or less. But again, it's not totally. You could take 90% of it, you can take 80% of it. Don't go home after Shabbos feeling that you're a failure or you're not able to do certain parts of it. The main thing is to understand what the crisis is all about, to understand what's happening to our children. Why are they going off? What's happening? Why are they leaving the family? Why are they not talking to parents? Why are they fighting with their friends in their biz? Why are they having legal issues with the car and driving and speeding and drugs and tattoos and every kid, whatever they don't, seniors issues? What's happening to them? That's something that we could all learn from all the Mahalchim. It's all the same, to understand where it's coming from. And this is what we're trying to understand, to give the parents the part of the Shabbos that gives us hadrocha, is to understand what happened to these kids. Why are they acting out this way? And once we understand that, we could try to think, how do we heal them? How do we bring them back to a place where they're able to face all their fears and all the stuff? So to me, personally, Baruch Hashem, I have this nisyonis, the two of my own kids, as many of you know. And both of them happened after 10 years of me being in the line. Hashem gave me that I should feel it, I should really know. You could practice and then preach, and this is different lies. I've realized one thing's for sure, that whatever Rav Shimon always put into my ears again and again, and I heard many times from Shani Lissa, whoever it's the Shani Lissa, that a healthy attachment to a child is going to heal everything. We could sit and learn and study. There's so much going on, and it's actually very traumatizing for us to learn the trauma that our kids went through. It's very traumatizing. You could sometimes sit through a crisis kind of class, and you start listening what it means to them being molested in school, being bullied, being hurt in front of other kids, and what it does to their brain. We become traumatized. Where was I? So that's not the goal, to scare us and to hurt us. The goal is to understand how to heal it. And the catch from you all healing over here is creating a healthy attachment, to soothing them now, like the 4 S's that Rav Heshi said before. So they should feel safe, secure, seen, and soothed through us now. We could do it right now, even when they're older, even when they're out of the house or they're still in the house. Now is the time that we could still make them feel seen and soothed. Naturally, in the olden days, or many of us, the regular kids when they're young, when a child acts up, they behave. Your child is hitting the younger sibling, fighting, sibling rivalry, the regular stuff. What do we do naturally? What did our parents do with us? We reacted with an action to their action. We reacted to their action. They did an action. They did something wrong. So in my times it was a patch. You hurt your brother, a frost, or a punishment, or whatever it was always given us. We were reacted to our actions with a reaction. Now we realized that we stopped reacting to their actions. We react to the cause of their actions. What is the cause of their action? A person behaves a certain way is because they feel that way. If a boy walks into Cheder, he walks into class, or a girl walks into school, and she feels that half a class is talking behind her back, hurting her, she feels insignificant, she feels like a loser, she feels hurt. How is she going to behave that day? If she's the aggressive type, she'll start fighting back. She'll fight. She'll start hurting the other kids. She'll act up. She'll make trouble in school. She feels like a loser. She feels insignificant. She feels not wanted or needed. The other type of kid that uses flight is going to roll up in the corner, hide, give an excuse, say I have a headache, I need to go home, and the parents call and get a phone call, your child has a headache, it doesn't feel good, he wants to come home. When the principal calls up and says your child wants to come home early, you have to come pick him up because he's not feeling well, 99% of the time I know he's feeling a certain way and he needs to run. I might have another kid that's a fight type of a kid. He'll come home and tell me a story that kid bullied him and what he did back to him. That's his nature. So those are the actions that they're doing, but we need to be clever. Oh, I said like the linguist, instead of saying smart, you said clever. We need to be clever. In New York, clever means like over smart, and that's smart. But in here, you say smart to say clever. And smart means chic, right? Nice. You dress smart. Okay, just need to know. Also, New York speakers are speaking. So we need to understand what is causing our child to behave a certain way. How can that change their feeling and their behavior will change automatically? So if my child is acting up and I come home, my wife says, I can't handle anymore. This kid, I punish this guy. It's still doing everything wrong today. So what I do is I sit down with that kid, put on my lap, I start music 15 minutes, unrelated to their action, unrelated to what they did to the siblings. Just give that 15 minutes attention. The child goes off my lap and is in a good mood the next 4 hours until they go to bed. Because I change the way this kid feels about himself. So I have a line that I always use. We need to focus on our child's need, not on their deed. Focus on their need, not on their deed. So if a child has a deed, an action, a behavior in a certain way that's dangerous, or negative Hashem, or negative Torah, or negative normalcy, that means they have a need. They're crying out to us, look at my need, don't look at my deeds. I think that the Rebbeinu Shalom does the same. It's not about our deed, it's about understanding who's got food. Why is the child not behaving? What's happening to this kid? So heute gesagt, but it's in Bereiches Voodoo. The Torah starts, the beginning, Hashem created. Voodoo also means health. The Bereiches Voodoo, to start the Torah, to be an Ehrlich, you need to be very healthy. You need to be physically, emotionally, mentally, a gesinnter Mensch can help in gesinnter Torah. That's how it works. So if someone has an issue with Yiddishkeit, it's 99.9% not a Yiddishkeit issue. It is a painful issue. The kid is in pain. There's something hurting them. This is what all of us, anybody in this field, from unconditional parenting to Gadlaing and Etzisrol to Vahaisha, which I'm going next week to speak. My wife is speaking over there. Organization, seats in the Kesha now, wherever it is, any organization in the world. We all know this. We didn't know this 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. Maybe some of us. We learned that we chapped. What is taking off people? Never that they came from Apakarsis and they went to like some kind of a class, like the old time, the Haskula Enlightenment movement, and they're coming from pain, trauma, hurt. I want to share with you such a sad story that just came to my mind. I had a man that came to me recently. He was a struggling teen, settled somewhat, Baruch Hashem, married to a girl that was also trying to settle somewhat, so Baruch Hashem, they come to me every few weeks. They're doing quite good. He had an episode, a story happened in a store, someone told him something, and he got a severe reaction, and he acted up in a public place terribly, and his wife cannot forgive him. So I asked him what happened. He said, no. So I, as a therapist, I wanted to crawl back. So, what happened? What was your trigger? Why was your amygdala on high alert? Why are you running to fight or flight? This is, something that happened. So it came up that when he was a boy in Chayda, he was embarrassed, ashamed. He was called out in front of the whole lunchroom, in front of hundreds of kids in the Chayda, and the manal, whoever it was, didn't have cycle, and he told him, "This is a hint." I says, "A hint, like a dog," and it made him crawl in front of the ganze. So that it created in him social anxiety, which he worked out a lot. But it was in a public setting. If someone told him something, his amygdala right away triggered, oh, danger. And when we're in danger, we behave a certain way. We go into flight mode. There's a Yid in Borough Park, an alter Yid, the Zayda. He makes every year, he makes a Siddur Sedua for his kids and his Einiglich from the day that he came out of the Holocaust. I don't remember which day of the year it is. As his family is growing, now he has Einiglich and great grandchildren, probably great grandchildren. And I don't know what it was, 2 years ago, whatever it was. But one of the parties, he got all of the whole family, and he comes and he gives them shit for the Rebbeinu Shalom, and he says the story, how he got out of it, and it's the whole masa, how he came out of the Holocaust and everything he survived. One of his Einiglich was trying to be cute, and he put on the pajamas that the Eden wore in the Holocaust in Auschwitz, Hashem. And I don't know if it was actually the Zaydas that he saved up, or somebody who came in and wanted to make, like, act it out. The Zayda was speaking for all, I heard it from one of the grandchildren that were there. The Zayda was speaking out to the whole family, and this kid walked in, this teenager, whoever it was, walked in with the big die torture, and the Zayda fell on the floor immediately and fainted. He was out. We're talking about 70, 80 years after the war. What happened? What happened? The person knows, logically, you're in a safe place. Logically, you're in a good place. Logically, you're in America. You're what happened? His amygdala, the simple language is triggered. Something, or enactment is this more professional word. He had an enactment. Something reminded him of that past trauma. And you could say, but I'm so nice to you already for years. I'm doing everything. Certain things remind us certain places where we were and what we did. It doesn't have to be as severe as the story. It could be simply certain words, certain faces, certain that we don't know that remind them of a certain person that didn't behave. I had a year ago, maybe less, I don't remember when it was. I got a WhatsApp from a good friend of mine in Toronto, and he sent me a message. He said he needs to talk to me ASAP. Something happened with his kid. So what was it? He told me that his child, a 13-year-old boy, came out, is acting up the last few weeks, is not behaving normal. So, regular kid, healthy kid. And he told his child something that he didn't like that night, and his child spit him in the face. He spit his father in the face. So he called me and said, what do I do now? How do I? So I told him, what you do now? I'll tell you what to do. He said, yeah, but don't come with your crisis. This is a regular kid. What is the right thing? Should I punish him? Should I smack him? Should I throw him out of the house? What am I doing with this kid? This hits me in front of the other kids, spit in the face. I said, if you're asking me, I would tell you to take this boy, take him for a drive, not now and a half an hour from now. In the car, you tell him as follows. I know that you love me very, very much. And if you spit me in the face, must be that something is very, very bothering you very, very much. Something is hurting you like extreme. What is that is hurting you? I want to help you. And it tells me, oh, Shlomi Shabbaton, Madonna Zach. Like, it's like, I said, listen, you called me, this is my mahalach. This is what you should do. An hour later, he called me back. This Yid, this Imam, was crying on the phone. He told me I was a novi. What was it? He took him on a drive. Beginning the song was like angry, not looking at him. The reason why I told him to take a drive, because, in the car, sometimes we have very good conversations, certain conversations, because you both are focusing that way, not facing each other, right? So you need certain conversations happen in the car better, and the scenery is moving. So usually it's better to look to the eye, but certain conversations, I figured the boy's not going to want to look in the eye. He tells his son exactly as I told him. Shefala, I know you love me very, very much. If you spit me in the face, it must be something hurting you terribly. The boy says, Tati, that my Rebbe Chayder is not feeling well already 2 weeks as a substitute. He's picking on me every single day. For the last week, I have to stand in the corner for hours. My feet are killing me. I'm embarrassed in front of the whole class. I can't take the pain anymore. So his father says, look, I was about to punish him. So he asked me, what do I do now? I said, what do we do now? You're going to stick up for your son. Tomorrow morning, you're going into the Cheder. You're walking into the Manal's office the second the Cheder opens, and you're telling him that Rebbe has to leave. Not in the morning. He can't stay another minute in the Moiset. And that's how you're going to heal your child. And he did it. And the Mal asked for forgiveness, said, I had no clue. I didn't know that the substance is such a design. Well, it's amazing how the connection of the child became even better afterwards with the parents because it opened up a door. This is the goal. The goal is to heal our kids. To heal our kids in a sense that they should feel comfortable to come and tell me, to come and tell us parents, I messed up. Someone messed up with me. Someone hurt me. That's when you know you achieved the goal as a parent. If your child feels comfortable in telling you, Pa or Ma, I messed up. Yesterday, I did so and so. And you're not going to feel judged. They're not going to feel belittled. They're going to feel like you have an open space for them. You're going to listen to them and understand them and say, you're a teenager. You're a child. You're going through a hard time. Can I help you? You want my advice? Let me see if I can help you. Maybe I can get you to someone. Let's see how we can get through this. This is what's going to heal our kids. This is safe, secure, seen, soothe. If your child is somehow going to find that it's hard, that every case is different and we're all dealing with different whatsoever. To heal a child that's behaving recklessly because their amygdala is up fire, because we don't know what traumatized them or what it was. But if they're gonna feel the man Tata Mela are gonna go and fire for me, they're not gonna judge me even if I spit them in the face. They're gonna look at my need. They're not gonna look at my deeds. They're gonna want to see what am I suffering, what's hurting me, and they're not gonna look at what's their issue with the Gasgatschmissen, the ego. The people are going to say, I'm going to walk with this child in the store. I'm going to walk in the street with this kid. And everybody's going to say, and that's the way we're going to heal them. The moment our kids are going to feel, not here, not in this cycle, not in there, because this is off, as it eventually said before. The subconscious, the hippocampus, a reptilian brain, the emotional brain is going to feel that even when I embarrass my parents, even when I do crazy stuff, even when I misbehave in a way that mamish, they don't throw me out of the house, they keep me and they make care of me, they love me, they connect to me. Slowly but surely their amygdala and their subconscious is going to believe you. They're going to drop everything, Be'ezus Hashem. They're going to be able, Be'ezus Hashem, to function and focus and make smart choices in their life again. That's the goal. That is the ultimate goal of this whole thing, is to create a healthy attachment to our kids, that they should know that whatever they'll do, atata blav tatata, and amam. And this is the goal of the whole concept of what we're preaching here. How to do it, where to do it. You listen to this one, to that one, to different organizations. It's Abyss Lazar, it's the same idea. This is the goal. Is it hard? I'm living it. See them. But Lamasa, the child is walking in and not sneezing in your house. Lamasa, the kid is doing this. Lamasa, the boys are behaving this way, the son is doing that. And what's with the other kids? Of course, we're going to talk about it throughout Shabbos. How can we deal with the other kids and what? Avada, we need to, but the focus is creating a healthy attachment to our kids. And you know what else creates a healthy attachment? Not only opening up ourselves, that where they could confide in us and share with us. We need to be interested in their interests. You ever walking to a tzaddik? How many people went to Reb Chaim? All the other Hasidic Rav. Why do we talk to them? Such shtissen. They're in a different world. They're in a minimum batuchen and such a high level. And we come in and we cry about, did they ever make you feel like, they come down to your level. We need to be able to go down to a person's level, and whatever hurts them, hurts us, and whatever excites them, excites us. There's a famous story of the Baal Shem Tov, when he was told by the Maggid from Shemayim, long story, but he was told by the Maggid of Shemayim that he has to come out, to stop being a Lam Duf Tzaddik, go out, the people need you. He went out and he couldn't relate to the regular people. He went back to the Maggid and said, I don't understand these people, they're talking about such shtissim. He told him, you know what? Lock yourself up for another year. Go even higher level of Avodas Hashem. That's when you'll understand even the lowest Yid. If Shim Baichui, the same thing. We remember that. Tonight, if Shim is Yitzhak. The same exact thing. He went out first time and then had to go back and come back. In order to understand other people and to help is not the chachma that you should think about Torah the whole day. Of course you should. But the moments when you're trying to heal your child, you go into their mind. And if they're into something shtissim, you'll be into that shtissim. The Shlomo Freifeld, you heard about him? I'm sure you heard. Shlomo Freifeld had a boy that he raised in his house. That's the whole story, how the boy came to him. And the boy was very into American history, the Indians, into their history. He was very into that. Shlomo Freifeld ordered all the books. He told someone to order the books. He read up everything about Indian history. He wanted to know everything. He was able to talk to the kid. And today's the Tzeilim Maruf also had a child, that's this cousin, long story. That kid was very into sports. The Tzeilim Maruf. You know, the Tzeilim Maruf again? And that kid was modern Orthodox. It was this cousin came to live by him because the father died after the war. And the Tzeilim Maruf told his Gabba to order all the books of sports. The Tzeilim Maruf knew all the players, the baseball, I don't know sports, but whatever it is, the yearly, sound like such almudas, but whatever it's called. Everything about sports, and he connected with that kid, and that kid is today a Zaida in Williamsburg with Einiglich and Iraq, that their mom is shining the world. Because he connected, he was interested in their interests. And I remember my daughter was very, very interested in certain Mishigas, and it was so hard for me to put my brain there. But I tried because I knew of this. And for me, it's easier, by the way. Anybody that's in this field is always easier because we're preaching it the whole day. It's easier. I have reminders every day. I remind, I come on, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. I'm preaching it, I have to. So, Baruch Hashem, I have reminders. I'm interested in her interests. And you know what we need to do with our regular healthy kids at home? Your 3-year-old comes home, you sit on the floor, you play with them Lego. This is their world now. And he shows he made a boat, and this boat is going to go, and the kid. That's connection, that's attachment. Attachment is you're interested in what they are interested in. That's attachment. So I'm going to end now because we have 2 more minutes to go. We're going to take a stickle break, and then we're going to hear Harav Tzadik Gershon Sheffel Shlita. So I just want to make sure that I wrap this up in a way that we could actually take it home. Number 1, their need is what we're looking for, not what they need. Number 2, we understand that no kid goes off Yiddishkeit because they went off Yiddishkeit. They go off Yiddishkeit because they go off everything else. Something else is hurting them. And Yiddishkeit is the place where we see it first, usually. Yiddishkeit is the place where we chab that, he started kibbutz, it doesn't sit by the Shabbos table, it starts up one way, and then they sit there, and then they stop. But we need to right away chab for all the newcomers here. You need to remember, if your child is acting up, even in a small way, something is hurting them. Try to zoom in as speedily as possible to figure out what's really hurting them and how you could become buddies with your kids. Go home after Shabbos, Gesundheit. Take your kids on outings. Play with them. Do with them what they are interested in, not what you're interested in. And Be'ez Hashem is going to give us koyach and them koyach that they should come back to the wichtige cycle. And slowly but surely, for some of us, this is a very, very long, painful journey. I'm not here to give any promises to anybody that just do it and it's going to be good. It takes time. We don't know how deep the trauma is. We don't know what's going on in the system. It could take a long time, it could take shorter time. We need to be with foul, of course, but we need to do a shtadlis. Last week I thought, the Gemara is ein samchen ala nes. You're not allowed to be soymech on miracles. You're not allowed to rely that Hashem is going to give you a miracle. What does that mean? In other words, you need to do the max shtadlis, whatever makes sense. If you don't do the max shtadlis, you're a soymech ala nes. Imagine you're doing a shidduch with your child, and information, I married off quite a few kids, Baruch Hashem, so I know what it is. I'm finding out information and doing this. It's like, shidduch b'shet, he's gonna. Did I do what makes sense? Again, you don't need to have OCD and anxiety, but you need to follow whatever the mumchen, when it comes to how to do a shidduch, they tell you how to ask information, how much dates to have, and what you need to feel before you close the shidduch, close the deal. You do that. If you do anything less, you're a soymech ala nes. It's soymech ala nes. You need to do a shtadlis. We need to do a shtadlis, whatever makes sense, but not more and not less. Of course, where's the line of shtadlis? It depends. There's a lot of different lines, and Chazanish, the whole cycle, whole thing, shtadlis, a minute. But definitely we need to do shtadlis. So we're talking about a shtadlis. That's what we're talking about. And the rest is up to the Ravani Shalem. Hashem should give us all koyach. And we should be able to see the goods in our kids, to look at them with rachman, with mercy, with rachmunas, instead of looking at them on din and judging, zero judgment. And we should only see that when a child misbehaves, your heart should cringe. Oi, my child had to be so chesed to me. It must be there's so much pain. My child had to do Machal Shabbos. Oi, there's so much pain. It's terrible. Have that rachmunas. You cannot have judgment while you have a rachmunas. That's a gift that Rabbi Shalom gave us. You can't have both at the same time. You can't have din while you're having rachman. A judge, Av Bezin has to go with aloch. He has to be very technical. He has to be, whatever the din is, you have to do now. But a parent to a child needs to go with rachman. And we need to be'emes feel bad for them. Give me the koich to see the good in them, and to see that they're in pain and they're struggling. And we're here throughout the whole Shabbos Mitzvah to be mechazik each other, to have that koich, to have that rachman, and we'll continue with Hashem.